Hello, hello, and welcome back. This is Antarctic Cup Day 2. We are through to Semifinal B or Semifinal 2, based on whichever you want to use, letters or numbers. My name is Sean,
And I'm Penguin.
and we are here on GSL Daybreak. And Penguin, whom are we seeing in these two corners of the map?
We're going to be seeing mouzHasuObs is going to be spawning as the yellow Protoss in the bottom left spawn location. And he is, as I was saying just before the game, he is the only non-Terran remaining, and he's also the only non-Korean remaining. So he is representing us foreigners. So foreigners whiting, we need to all gather together and support HasuObs in this game. But his opponent is going to be none other than ApxMankiw, and I believe we did cast a game of his yesterday. And otherwise, I was talking to a lot of the players during the tournament, and they've all played against him in tournaments, but none of them seem to know who the hell he is. He's just really good.
Indeed, there are so many players like that in the Korean scene who come to foreigner tournaments and just absolutely dominate them. And nobody knows who they are because they're not actually professional players. They're just really good Korean ladders who think, wait a second, I'm way better than most people on the North American server. I'll just go and win their tournaments, and that's what they do. And
Yeah, definitely. I was just reading the chat for a second, a little giggle. And yeah, apparently you're a little quiet, but we'll fix that after the game. There is a barracks going down for Mankiw at the front of his base. Looks like he's going to be going for a wall off, and HasuObs is going to be opting for his. He's going to be grabbing the gas standard timing on the gateway, standard timing on the gas. So it's all looking very, very standardo so far. And yeah, I mean, this game could really go anywhere from here. It is GSL, actually I think it's MLG, but it's MLG Daybreak, and it's actually, it is a map that it's pretty damn big. Even though it's only got two spawn locations, it's very, very big. And especially in PvT, we've seen a lot of big, long games here. HasuObs did play in the last game. He played, I think it was about a 35-minute long game versus Everrise, which he did finally take. But this map can just be divided up in two so easily, and then it's just sort of a poking and prodding game, just trying to catch your opponent off guard, trying to catch him out of position, trying to get an expansion killed here or there, and it really just ends up being a really like delicate balance there. One mistake can really sort of kill you.
yeah, I mean, it's sort of, and I hope the volume level is a little bit better. It's sort of, I don't know. A lot of players say that that one race is underpowered and one race is overpowered because of the way that punishments can get that mistakes can get punished so easily. I don't think it's really balance isn't a question of whether you get punished badly for one mistake. I think you should get punished for all your mistakes. But what I like about PvT is that there's an equal level of punishment for both sides. They say that Terran gets punished really hard in the late game for making mistakes. That's not actually true. Terran doesn't actually get by default punished harder. It's that it is slightly harder to play as Terran in the late game if you try and win in the mid game and you fail, because what you don't realize is that by muling hard, and yes, I'm very, very adamant on this, is that if you drop a lot of mules and you don't save some for scans, or rather just save some energy, in the late game, you're going to be a lot more pressure to expand, which does put you at a disadvantage because Protoss can sit back on 4 bases while you have to be on at least 5 because you simply don't have 3 mining bases
A lot of
for as
this
long as your opponent.
a lot of this is misunderstood by people, and what Sean is saying is not that muling is bad or whatever. What he's saying is that if you mule too hard, you'll end up getting mined out in your main and your natural and your third so fast that you'll have to get those harder to defend 4th and 5th bases. Like, for instance, if you look at Daybreak, you can defend the natural pretty easily. You can defend the main pretty easily. Even the third you can defend pretty easily. But as soon as you start having to take bases like this 4th down here, or this really exposed 5th out here, they're just so easy to assault that when you're trying to mine out of those bases, your opponent can just sort of come and crush you, and then if he's on 3 base, he's still mining, whereas if you're on 3 base, you have no mineral patches left.
Absolutely, and quite frankly, once you get to the 15-ish minute mark, or not 15, let's say 15, 20-minute mark, once you get to that late game situation, suddenly it's not so hard to defend this third. It's hard to defend the 5th, the 4th, the 6th, and yeah, pretty much it's just really hard to take a 4th on this map. And quite frankly, if you go Marine heavy, you're going to have to take a 4th a lot faster than Protoss is going to have to take his 4th.
That's
So
true. HasuObs
it's all
is...
about preparing for the game that you want to play.
That's true. HasuObs is going to be pushing in now. That bunker is up and it's filled with Marines. It's going to be able to hold off pretty easily. Nice micro on the Stalker is going to keep him alive as long as possible. That Zealot did go down.
Good
And
SCV.
the SCVs are going to be pulled to repair that bunker before it dies. And I think HasuObs is going to be repelled pretty easily here. He
Yeah, but
did
not
get one
before
worker
that
kill.
stalker is like, wait a second, that SCV is not getting away with its life, not
Yep,
that low. So
yep. One extra SCV kill for HasteWobs. And, yeah. And what was I going to say? There is an expansion now. The expansion has been up for Mouse. I keep wanting to call people like Alive, No Name, and HasteWobs Mouse Sports just because that's the name they're playing under. But
let's just call him Noni,
Noni.
anonymous.
Oh God, you didn't just do that.
No, that's what Noni is short for, anonymous.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Because I have a
Interesting.
clanmate who calls himself Noni.
Huh,
His full
interesting.
name is anonymous.
Interesting. Well,
Mhm.
what was I going to say? Let's take a look at the workers' supply. The chrono boosting of workers for HasteWobs has allowed him to grab a 6-worker lead, which is pretty significant this early in the game. However, MankiW, of course, does have the ability to mule, and that should even it out reasonably well. As far as army supply goes, they're pretty even. They're actually dead even, 20 and 20. So it looks like it's. I don't expect to see all that much of like a major death push anytime soon. HasteWobs does have these stalkers in position to do a little bit of poking and prodding, but with both of these, with 2 bunkers up, I don't see that being that big of an issue for MankiW at this point of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're just going to see a nice little mid-game play. Seems to be a bit of a stalemate here at the natural of Terran. So I would expect to see HasuObs just really, yeah, he is indeed chrono boosting his Nexus, both of his Nexuses, in fact. So I would expect to see him expand to his third sometime soon in the midst of this contain. And yeah, that's the thing about bunkers is that they're so good at stopping you from taking damage. But when you have those bunkers up, it puts you in a position because that's 4 Marines you could be pushing out with that you're not going to be. So there's a trade-off there, and
Mm-hmm.
that does mean that you do sacrifice mobility, means that you're going to have to stay in your base, means that these stalkers are going to be in power at least until a couple more Marauders get out.
That is
Although I
true.
think at this point he does have enough forces to break the contain.
Yeah, that is definitely true. He has a lot of Marines. Let's take a look at the unit counting station. He actually has 18 Marines and 4 Marauders on the field, so he could break the contain. I think the issue is he doesn't see the army. He doesn't know how much
At this point,
HasteWobs
they're
has
actually
there.
just scouting stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's really what they are. They're just there, like it's that one ling you put
Oh,
at the
there's a
your
bit of a move out.
where? Sorry. Uh,
I think he's thinking about starting to move out right now. He will be moving.
a little bit of a delay happening. Robo Bay has just finished, and Concussive Shells is just being started, and Stim finishing up. So MankiW is
Oh
going to be
my
getting his.
goodness.
Ooh, wow. Going to be salvaging the bunkers, and he is going to be moving out. The Stalkers will see that and be able to get away before they lose any health. And
Yes, indeed. In fact, I am at a point in the game where Thermal Lance is like 3/4 of the way done, so I'm just gonna rewind.
holy hell on a spit! Wow. Thermal Lance hasn't even started in my. Oh no, that's not true. Wait, yeah. Gravatic Boosters is being researched.
Okay.
He's not even
Okay,
on
no.
Thermal
Gravitic
Lance.
Boosters then was 3/4 of the way done.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, how the hell did you get that far ahead? But a little bit of running around with MankiW. He is actually taking his third, so that was really to break that contain that Sean was talking about, and he's going to be grabbing that pylon. His third is on its way up for MankiW. The pylon does, however, spot that it is in fact. Not sure why HasteWobs warped in a zealot there. It's a bit of a waste in my opinion. The factory is going to be moving around to scout. He no longer needs that factory. He has the starport up, so he'll be producing medevacs 2 at a time, and he's going mega bio. That
I'm
is
pretty sure
pretty
he didn't
common.
see that gigantic Bioforce because there's only one Marauder shooting at the pylon at the
Oh,
time, so
okay.
maybe he decided to warp in that Zealot right before. Remember, as casters, we can see a lot more than he can.
That is true. Um, he does have how many observers does he have? He has 2 observers actually moving around the field, and I do like this simply because it gives him so much more map vision. I would like to see him get maybe a 3rd observer, maybe just to keep over his opponent's army, but it is much harder to actually keep up simply because the Terran have scans, and if he notices that there's a little shimmer there, he will be able to just go boom. And it looks like MankiW is going to be able to catch this 3rd before it even goes down. Um, HasteWob's a little bit lucky that he doesn't have to cancel since he hasn't started it yet. But yeah, that will come in handy. I think this factory
Oh,
is going
that
to go down.
Colossus has to do so much damage. It has to do a lot of damage because right now it just occurred to me that Bioforce is on 1/1,
Oh my
which
goodness, you are
essentially
right.
means
Well,
that any gateway engagement, his gateway has to be 2-to-1 ratio. He has to have twice as much gateway as his
well,
opponent has bio.
well.
Otherwise, he is not going to
HasteWobs
win
also
engagement.
now has 1-1. 1-1 has finished for HasteWobs. So
1/1 has finished for HasuObs, which is good. Now he will be able to withstand slightly more. But again, there's only one Colossus on the field, and now Vikings are in production. And finally, there's two Colossi, and the Temple Archives will be started. So I think we're going to be seeing everything just go a little bit more standard. And oh no, but 2-2 is actually the Terran player does have quite a head start on this 2-2. That's what I love about players who just get those upgrades. They capitalize on it immediately. There are three things I like to. I have a very very strict policy on upgrades. Is simply as MankiW does take out that proxy pylon at the fourth. I have a pretty strict policy on upgrades. If I get an upgrade, as soon as it's finished, I'm either going to do one. I'm going to do one of three things, or a combination of three things. I'm either going to attack, I'm going to expand, or I'm going to start my next upgrade. I feel like that's a really important thing to do, because if you get your 2-2 early, and then your opponent gets 2-2 let's say 30 seconds later, and you do nothing in those 30 seconds, that's money that you essentially spent too early that could have gone into other stuff, such as economy. So
It's very true.
There's a huge trade-off between tech and army, especially for Protoss and Terran, where it's the only trade-off, and except for when you expand. So it's sort of like you really have to make the best of everything.
Definitely, Sean. And of course, as you were saying, you want to attack. If you decide on the attacking, if you want to go with the attacking option, you need to go right when those upgrades finish. Because, for instance, MankiW now has an upgrade advantage, but it'll only hold that for about maybe 30 seconds since the forges are being chrono boosted. And it's one of those things where, like, you get your upgrades earlier, but you have such a small window of opportunity if your opponent is also going really, really fast upgrades. And I think even though HasuObs is a little behind in upgrades, he probably will be able to catch up simply because he does have chrono boost on his side. Even though MankiW is already starting +3. Oh, MankiW is going to be moving in towards the third, though. And that is a pretty big force. I don't think one photon cannon is going to be able to hold that off. In comes the force of HasuObs. Stim has gone down. Guardian Shield is up. Some really nice storms going down. And that will force MankiW back for the time being. There are a good number of Vikings on the field, and the Colossi are very low on health. The first one does go down. There is one more Colossus, but there's just not enough units to deal with this. He needs some really great storms, but there's...
He's going to lose this. He's going to lose this expansion.
He is definitely going to lose this expansion. He is, in fact, pulling back to the natural. He does have enough energy on this Templar for a storm, and a great storm would do tons of damage here, but brilliant splitting from MankiW, and he doesn't even get the storm off before the Templar dies.
And he has one Templar left. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Maybe somewhere in his main. It is in his main there to feed back any drops, but there are no drops on the way. So I feel like this Templar is just sort of wasting its time. Could do a lot of damage to that bio.
I really, really like this from MankiW. He's just pulling back. He's not going to commit to this. He's going to power up. He's going to heal up his forces a little bit. He's going to make sure he gets more units up on this third. He's going to saturate this third a little more, and he's just going to sit there healing up for a while. And it's like it's this non-committal aggression that actually will probably end up putting him in a much better position, simply because he's not being impatient. He's not rushing in there and stimming again and like immediately dying. But he's instead going to opt for just sort of sitting there, giving a little bit of time to heal up those units. And as you can see, some of those units are already getting a lot of those units are already getting very, very high on health. And that's really going to help him in coming the engagement.
Yeah, and why when you have medevacs to heal everything up, why sack your whole army to kill two bases and put yourself at risk of losing the game like immediately, when you can just kill one base for absolutely free? There's guaranteed damage is the best. Is like never ever ever pass off the ability to do guaranteed damage. And if you're guaranteed to do damage, be very careful not to overextend yourself, because that completely that is the equivalent of just basically just pissing away an opportunity that was given to you. So
definitely. I'm being asked what my time is. I'm not torrenting anything, Andy. I'm sorry. It's just that my sister doesn't have as good internet as I do in London, so it makes me very, very sad.
Antarctic Cup 3 will be much more up to par.
Oh yes, Antarctic Cup 3 will be on at least 720p, hopefully 1080p, and it will be really, really lovely. Okay, engagement coming down here, but the split on MankiW's army is phenomenal. The oh wow, the EMPs go down. Going to be able to almost kill off those Archons immediately, and the concave that MankiW has here is phenomenal. A couple of storms going down, going to do good damage, but with the army split up as it is, the storms are not going to be as effective at all. and it looks like Mankiw is going to be able to break this force.
Yeah, he is absolutely in control here. And the Vikings are... Well, the Vikings are just sort of sitting there uselessly. They're probably going to have to be landed soon because there are no Colossi
There's
on
the
the
land.
field.
The land is going down right now. And GG from HasuObs. And you were saying the Vikings were being were just really useless as they were flying around, and I don't agree with that.
Hmm?
Simply because the reason I don't agree with that Vikings were useless is because I mean the Super Bowl is going on right now, so you should understand this. But cheerleading is important, and those Vikings were there to boost morale. They're the cheerleading Vikings.
I'm just glad you didn't make a Minnesota Vikings.